Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us on Morning Spring today on Western Spring Television. We are very delighted to know that you're always with us here, and that's what we do. This is what we do rather here at this time, having conversations about the betterment of the greater Nigeria. Of course, challenges abound, and but then in the middle of all these, we must hold accountable everybody involved. We must speak and see that we have speak to and then see to issues, making sure that we have everything in place towards a nation that we are proud of. That is exactly the reason why we come here every weekday. Femi is my name, and thank you for joining us. Good morning. It's been a kind of a chilly weather here, raining last night all through this morning, so the weather is a bit calm and a bit cozy. Thank you for joining us. And the delectable Evelyn Ohiolei.
Good morning, Femi. How are you doing today? Happy Monday, people. Right. Yes, it's time for work. I know the weather can be a bit, make you lethargic, but just get up and go to work. You know what they say, if you must chop, you must work. Yeah. Welcome on board. It's the first edition of Morning Spring for this week. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, and as always, we are super delighted to have you on board. Today is the 6th day in the month of May, 2024. And, talking about date, yesterday, 5th of May, was makes it 14 years since the demise of former President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, and yesterday we could see tributes pouring from different stakeholders, politicians, senators, family and friends, just trying to relieve the memories of the former president. A lot of people called him a true Democrat, called him a simple person. Some said he was he ensured that we had a country we could actually be proud of. Whatever it is, we also commiserate with the family of the Umar Musa Yar'Adua, and we continually pray that his soul continue to rest in peace.
All right, and that's one man that owner that election that brought him in was highly flawed.
The 2007 election.
He owned it up, and many persons gave that to him. But then ill health, was his own doing while I was there. But, like 2 years ago, about he was in charge.
I was 3 years. He died 5th of May 2010.
Right. Thank you for that. But then moving on, only remembered by what you have done. Actually, we will all be memories at some point. We take this break. When we come back, we delve straight right into the world of papers as far as it's still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Let's remind you that you can be a part of this program on channel 190 on StarTimes DTT, and also on our YouTube and Facebook page. You have the address on your screen, all at Western Spring Television. We'll be back. All right, thank you. I'll be starting the headline segment with the Vanguard newspaper, and boldly reaching on the front page is this headline: local firms, IOCs to bid for 12 onshore, 7 deep offshore oil blocks. With a rider, has a federal government woos investors at OTC 2024. That's on page 5. Moving on, marketers remain upbeat as petrol scarcity enters 3rd week, and it's not making things easy at all. People have had to spend the money that they don't have. Minister waits in as condemnation trails FIJ journalist arrest. And sporting scene, 2026 World Cup, Super Eagles will beat South Africa and Benin. That's coming from Finidi, the coach of the Eagles. And while FDIs continue to elude Nigeria, FDI is a foreign direct investment. That's coming from Atiko Abubakar. And how Nigerians can identify fake electricity meters. That's coming from Tahir Aliyu, the NEMSA MD. And again, Edo Guba, Obaseki, Diaz Obi led Legacy Group. Obaseki, Diaz Obi led Legacy Group. And here, multiple checks. FAN, NSA move to reduce security agents at airports. FAN, NSA move to reduce security agents at airports. That's one thing that they should do. Employers, labor angry over unending fuel scarcity. Employers, labor angry over unending fuel scarcity. And Mr. and Mrs. from the Humor Corner has this. So she sued her husband for cheating last time. She sued him for emotional abuse. What's her name again? And then Mr. replied, Sue is her name. But then the sporting scene, when you put, that might sound somehow, for Cristiano Ronaldo fans, when they celebrate, is Sue. It's only Sue and not Sue. So,
it might be a short form for Susan.
Yeah, okay. That's her name that is Sue, by the way. And Ladiji Alabi is there. Thank you for joining us, Ladiji. Good morning.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
All right. Thank you for joining us. For always doing this at this time. We appreciate you. And quickly, let's look at this together. Minister waits in as condemnation trails FIJ journalist arrest. Just last week, I think on Friday or thereabout, it was the World Press Freedom Day. And, you know, we are talking possibly that they are truly free as the press in Nigeria. And then we are seeing this, that the minister has weighed in as condemnation is trailing the arrest of an FIJ journalist.
Well, Femi, I think we need to start reporting issues as they are. What the police has done to Daniel Ojukwu is not an arrest. It is abduction. It is only unlawful organizations that does that. How do I mean? It is in the right of Nigerian police to want to investigate anything, any matter at all. But you need to let the person you are arresting know why he's being arrested. Arrested. You need to show him the arrest warrant, the search warrant, whatever. But in the report we've gotten so far, Daniel was picked up on Wednesday last week, and he was left incommunicado, not allowed to contact his lawyer nor his family members. If not for his organizations going about, in fact, what I read on the organization's website yesterday was that they are to start reporting a missing person to police stations before they got a tip-off that it was picked up by a team of police sent from Abuja to Lagos. And it was first kept in Lagos for about 3 or 4 days. Don't forget, on Friday, Evelyn asked me, do we have press freedom in Nigeria? I think this answers the question. If we can be unpicking journalists at will, and we have known criminals walking around the street, we have known criminals that will send a threat out, and the police PRO will come out to say it is a joke. And we have journalists that are doing their work. We have journalists that are trying to open the eyes of the citizens to things that they are not saying. And you are picking them up at will. And there are reports from his lawyers that he has an underlying health challenge and he has not been allowed to take his medications for 4 or 5 days. And you call that arrest? I think Vanguard News and other news platforms should, maybe should correct their headlines and call this what it is. It is an abduction. In fact, it is kidnapping. Because you've picked up this guy and you, irrespective, like I mentioned, you have the right to, investigate any matter, whatever it is, but let the person know, okay, so Mr. Man, you are being investigated for this matter, and you allow him to have a call to his lawyer. That is what the law says. And even what you are alleging, there has been report of maybe what he's been arrested for is a report he did on a particular money laundering case or money mismanagement case. Even if it is that, it's a bailable case. You can still bail, I mean, allow him to be bailed. And the sad thing about what the police has done is that since the issue of the report they did on, the alleged smuggling case against IBD in January or February or thereabout, FIG has come out to say there is no time police has invited any one of them that have not shown up. You've invited their chairman board of trustee or the chairman of their board. She has shown up. So why are we? This is 2024.
Right.
This is a country that we are looking at foreign direct investment. These are the perimeters. These are the measures that foreign companies look at before they say they are bringing their money to your country.
Right. I agree. And many persons are asking, was he invited at any time that he didn't honor?
There has not been report of him being invited.
Why go in such a manner? Is he a security threat? Is he a threat to national security? You know, it speaks to the kind of work that we do. Now, there are regulators and regulations in this particular business. By the way, don't let me preempt our conversation. We'll look more into that in the course of the program today. That's all from the front page of the Vanguard.
All right, from the Vanguard newspaper, we head on to the Punch newspaper for this morning. On the Punch newspaper, Lagos-Calabar Highway, telcos fear shutdown as construction threatens cables. Undersea fiber cables linking Europe to Nigeria pass through construction corridor, Alton Atcon say. An NDLEA seizes 4,752 kg cannabis concealed in Abuja gas tanker. 80% of Lekki buildings have no approval, says Lagos government. 80% is actually a huge percentage. Foreign scholars lament 11-month unpaid allowances face ejection, and this is not good. This is not a good report here. You know, people that are on scholarship, they have their unpaid allowances for close to a year now, 11 months. That's what the Punch is reporting. I hope the ministry that is saddled with this responsibility will look into this very quickly. Major marketers demand more fuel as depot stock drops. Top strip of the Punch newspaper this morning, front page. Tinubu to get minister's Q1 assessment report. 9 banks earmark 383 billion naira for legal dispute claims. Dangote, Unilever, 5 others cut 1,281 jobs in 1 year. This is according to a report. And abductions, detentions, echoes of Abacha era media clampdown resound under Tinubu. That was what, Femi just had a conversation with Ladiji Alabi. But away from that, Ladiji, let's talk about this Lagos-Calabar Highway. I know you must have been following the developments coming up from this coastal highway and the different support, praises, condemnation from different quarters. Now, telcos are, raising an alarm, saying that they fear a shutdown as the construction threatens cables. I just need your overall review of this report.
I think it was, I can't remember the person, I think it was Femi. We were having an off-air conversation one day, and he said, most of the time we want to enact a policy in Nigeria and want to enact it for the sake of enactment. We don't think it through. Do we need this at this time? How well do we want to? And don't forget, a reporter was asking the minister, the EIA report, the EIA approval for this, has it been done? You could see the way the man was actually like talking down the younger one. These are the issues. When you want to, even the Bible says it, you don't want to do it and you don't plan. When you start and you fail, people will call you a fool. And that's what you will look like in the eyes of the people. Now, we want to construct a coastal road from Lagos to Calabar. Is it good? Yes. Is it what we need now? No, for me.
Okay.
Look at Beniauchi Road. Look at how many years we've been on major roads that have linked the people needed most that we've not been able to complete. This is a coastal road from Lagos to Calabar that will not cost us anything less than around 15 trillion naira. Do we have the money to throw around now? If the answer is yes, all well and good. But have we done our due diligence? we don't just start a construction because we want to show people I'm working. You do it doing your due diligence. Okay, so what is the alternative? This is going to affect telecos. What is the alternative? What have you done? These are the preliminary things you should look into. Not because I just want to feel like I'm the minister and I can do and undo. You are not a lord, for crying out loud. Somebody was elected, quote and unquote, before he appointed you as a minister to work with him. And you are answerable to the people. You are in government doesn't mean you are the Alpha and the Omega. But the attitude of the minister or of what has shown that, see, I want to do this road, and if you guys don't care, I don't give a hoot. It is not fair. This will affect majorly a lot of Nigerians. And it is because I just feel political leaders need to think out right before going.
And a lot of people have also been talking about the businesses it's going to affect and how this is sending a signal to the international market.
A lot of people have had political drama to all these and all that. And as a matter of fact, there has been back and forth. I don't really want to go into that, because also in the government come out with it. In fact, as a matter of fact, the minister said something that was, that is a bit funny to me. He said the man doesn't have any license to, some of the businesses there, they don't have any license. And I was like, a whole Lagos state will look at people putting on such an edifice on the coastal way, and according to reports also, unconfirmed now, they said these guys, some of their businesses pay some of the highest taxes to Lagos state government. We should think this thing through. And also one of the family members that, govern the environment, the local environment, they said there is already a coastal road that there is already one on the plan of, I don't understand the way.
If I may quickly chip in this, one would say the business and economic concerns, about this particular project, you said it, is it not a priority? Good? Fine, maybe not now for you, but one will say something must give at some point when we are trying to make progress, when we're trying to make infrastructural plans and the rest of it, some interest will be affected.
I'm not arguing with that.
Yeah.
It has happened here in Oshun.
Because if you want to say, till we get to the point that nobody will be affected, we will move.
Now, Femi, agreed. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
However, if I've invested 200 naira on the business and you are bringing it down, don't forget the cost of maybe building an edifice when I was building it is not as high as now. Now, I've invested 200 naira on this project, and maybe the compensation you want to pay me is about 50 or 100 naira. I know a family friend that when the construction of a road affected their house here, guess how much the government paid them? 750,000 naira. And as at that time, the 750,000 naira could not get them a plot of land in the environment they were moving to. So what sense does that make to a business owner?
All right.
If I've invested $200 million in a business and you are paying me 100 million naira as compensation, how do you want me to break even?
So you're saying that the compensation plan should be looked into?
In fact, don't forget also in some places we have people that have been promised compensation for more than 10, 15 years now that they have not been paid.
Okay.
So these are the issues why Nigerians most times don't come out to believe government. Right. But, we are talking about the issue of the telcos being affected now. Yeah. I think these are the preliminary issues that the government should have looked into. Okay, so if this thing come out now, if the telcos are being affected, how do we manage this? Don't forget, most of us, now we are the ones that are shouting, cashless policy, and we want people to do transactions on their mobile app. Since yesterday night, Femi, I want to make a transaction on my phone. I've been turned to a liar because virtually all the bank apps are not working.
Hope it was not a restaurant.
You might want to explore.
Evelyn, don't let us go into that.
So you don't have to wash plates.
I know your plans for me.
Explore other options. The plans of good are not of evil.
Of course, yes.
All right, let's see what the Guardian has for us. Today, banks, others shop for over 3 trillion naira from broke investors, lean market. That's from the front page of the Guardian. Banks, others shop for over 3 trillion naira from broke investors and lean market. Broke investors and lean market. That's quite instructive for the Guardian to put it that way. And of course, you can see the figures, and the banks involved: 300 billion First Bank, 150 billion Stanbic, Fidelity 32 billion, Access needing 355 billion, MBC 600 billion, and Sterling 100 billion, Wema Bank 200 billion, and you can see the images and the hands lifted up saying bye, bye. And quickly, anxiety as INEX report fails to recognize Ondo APC Guba primary, right? Northern leaders, NNPP won federal government against defense pact with US and France. Outcry over alleged arrest, expulsion of 500 youths in Lagos, untenable fear scarcity amid deregulation, and lingering fear crisis, worsening capacity, utilization, productivity, says NECA. Atiku raises alarm over Tinubu's son's membership of Chagri's board, and from 30,000 naira to 615,000 naira. Feasibility hurdles await minimum wage. Lajis in state and private sector. 30 seconds. Ladeji, the situation about fuel is it improving? Let me ask you.
For me, we
have less than 1 minute to go.
In the last few days, Femi, I'm not sure anything has improved. Because people still buy at a very high rate. If you want to enter a filling station now and you want to move out immediately, then have about 1,200 naira in your hands, and you enter and come back. Don't forget the letters will not be complete. And you know, also people want to maximize profit, so they prefer to stay in filling stations that sell cheaper and they have a better liter. I think it's high time the government...
And NECA is saying it is affecting capacity utilization and productivity.
Of course, yes.
And it's obvious, isn't it?
It is obvious. It's even in this organization, I know how many people trekked from kilometers down to office because work must go on last week. It is sad that we've put people in such a situation. It is sad, but I think we need to just do better.
All right. Do better. We should and we shall. Thank you, Ladeji, for your time.
Always a pleasure.
We appreciate it. We all fear won't be an issue for you. A big man, for God's sake.
For crying out loud.
All right.
A big man that couldn't pay yesterday.
That's why when you have your online platforms, you still go around with some cash. You know? That's what big men like you do. In the same time, banks
pay you 3,000 naira on counter.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. We'll take a break right now. When we return, we speak to issues, especially the demography that is touted as the fourth estate of the RAM. Please stay with us.
Welcome back. It's still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, and this is The Conversation right here. And for today, we will be focusing on press freedom, as we know that the press, journalists, are considered the fourth estate of the realm, and they are the one that continually hold government accountable and expose government activities and all that the people need to know about the situation of the country. And of course, it's World Press Freedom Day, celebrated every 3rd of May each year all over the world, and Nigeria joined their counterparts all across the world to also celebrate the World Press Freedom Day. And of course, we have to know that for this year, the theme centered around journalism, what we do in the environmental sector. But to just go straight to the conversation this morning, we have joining us right here on Morning Springs, virtually via Zoom, the #1 journalist in Osun State. I'm talking about Comrade Wasiu Ajadosu, who is the Nigerian Union of Journalists chairman for the Osun State chapter. Welcome on board, Mr. Comrade Ajadosu. It's so nice to have you on board this morning.
Good morning for having me.
All right, so let's just... You were about to say something.
I said, I thank you for the opportunity given to me.
All right, so let's just get right to business. This year, 3rd of May, World Press Freedom Day. Before we go into other, conversations, I'd like to ask you, for you as a journalist, what does that day signify for you, and how do you tend to celebrate that day as a journalist?
Thank you very much for the opportunity once again. And the World Press Freedom Day is a day dedicated to celebrate a fundamental principle of press freedom, depending on the right of journalists and promoting the importance of a free and independent media in a democratic society. And the theme for this year's celebration is the press for the planet, journalism in the face of the environmental crisis, addressing the crucial role of journalists in looking at the environmental challenges and the way to sustain our environment so that everybody will live a conducive life. So that's the focus of this year's celebration. As you know, in this democratic society, there's a lot of injustice that has been, that is against journalism practice. And this day is always a day that will reflect on our challenges and a day we discuss the best way to enhance the practice of journalism in the country. We look at the various aspects of the job, the number of journalists that have attacked, the number of journalists that have been jailed unnecessarily with the cause of performing his responsibility and his duties. And you agree with me that journalism is only a profession being recognized in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Section 22 of Nigerian Constitution stipulates that the media, the press, the television, the radio shall be holding those in government accountable. And this role, the journalists have been playing this role for long. And then, you know, even the democratic system that we are currently enjoying is as a result of struggle of journalists. During the military era, the journalists are the forefront fighting for the cause of democracy. But the little experience we are even having in a democratic setting has caused us to challenges. The challenges in the form of unnecessary detaining details of our members or unnecessary attacks on our members. And those politicians that we fought for this democracy, they often will not see us as enemy. But there's two different lines we are pursuing. They are in the authority. We are to hold them accountable. I used to tell my friends who are in politics that you should not see us as enemy. We are working towards the cause and the benefit of the generality of people of Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade. Let's focus on the theme for this year a bit. It's press for the planet, journalism in the face of the environmental crisis. You know, for journalists or for journalism, especially in Nigeria, it seems we do not actually focus on environmental, you know, reportage. We most of the time focus on social, political, but when it comes to, you know, focusing on journalism, especially what this theme is talking about, environmental crisis, we are kind of a bit drawn away from that kind of reportage or that kind of journalism. Why do you think this is so?
Yes, it's because of the value and the premium the society gives to certain issues. We focus more on the social, political, and economic issues than the environmental issues. Because in developed world, there's a lot of sponsorship around these environmental issues. And you know, in Nigeria, we operate within the realm of the owners of our media organization. Most of this sponsorship towards to focus certain area of journalism practice is not there. So even the area that we focus more on to a certain extent is not that of the journalists operating in developed world where they have an area of specialization. You know, we cover general beat. We focus more on general beat in Nigeria. There's a little specialization area of focus. But be that as it may, there are certain group of people who are environmental journalists in Nigeria. The area of focus is about the environment, the sustainability of the environment, and the focus on the climate change. There are some journalists that dwell with that, but not with a great emphasis as some foreign media and some journalists in the foreign countries that focus much more on environment. So we focus more on general beat that has to do, especially politics, economy, social activities, and generally we focus on any issue that has to do with the well-being of the generality of people in the society. So be that as it may, there are still some journalists which are area of specialization are on environment issues.
All right, so you've been able to pinpoint one major challenge for the journalists, which is funding. If I'm to ask you, what other things do you consider as challenges for that actually disturb journalists from carrying out of their duties? I mean, challenges in the line of duty that will not allow Nigerian journalists now to actually carry out their duties efficiently and effectively?
There are a number of challenges. If anybody, the challenges is not peculiar to journalism anymore. When the former vice president of this country, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, said he always wonder, why is it difficult for a journalist to live a decent life? You know, when you don't live a decent life, it will not be so impossible for you to dwell so much on your social responsibilities. We are not well paid. We are not well paid.
Do you think that is deliberate?
You said?
Do you think that is deliberate?
Yes, I may see it as a deliberate action, but those in authority, you know, the power we possess as a media, they subdue this power through meager resources, through meager salary that has been given to journalists. If it should be enumerated properly, there won't be, the journalists will possess more power to actually hold those in government accountable. Do you know there are some journalists that are not even receiving any salary? There's no any form of salary coming to their way. This is a challenge. And there's outside of job, if those of colleagues that are engaged in the investigative journalism, they know what they are facing. They know their experience. In the course of performing that responsibility, there can be a form of attack that some of them may even be jailed. So it is a challenge. And unconducive environment for us to operate. That has been a general phenomenon in Nigeria. There's no conducive environment for you to practice your profession. To even, that's why today we said we are celebrating freedom of the press. There's still this freedom information act. To a certain extent, I will be given the opportunity to access this information unconditionally. There's still some document being tagged as confidential within the government circle. And in a world of free press, no document should be classified as a confidential document. It's also a challenge for you to have access to information, despite the freedom of information, the act that has been passed into law. And also, the ownership control is also a factor that has become a problem for us. The ownership, most of the owners of the media organization today are politicians, and their focus is to protect their interests. So it is when the journalists own a media houses that you can enjoy certain freedom. So these are some of the factors that has been hindering our profession. And that is also a major factor that most of our colleagues are not deeply focusing on these environmental issues and a lot of issues. So we are to hold government accountable. And whoever you want to hold accountable, we don't want to become your friend. Because only people accountable, they always see you as somebody that is against them, that is challenging their authority. We are not challenging your authority. We are doing a job that is of the benefit of the society. We are doing a job that's of benefit to human beings, that everybody must know what is going on within the government, what is the target of the government, what the direction of governance. Because this democracy we are even talking about, the journalists at the war front during the military era, we fought to ensure that we have democracy. But we are not being given the kind of environment to even operate under the democratic setting. Nothing has changed. We are just being given a gift of a Freedom of Information Act. I think by now, no information should be tagged as confidential. Whatever we want to access in terms of information, we should be given to work on that. So these are the peculiar challenges we are facing.
All right. Comrade Ajadosho, thank you for laying that background. Let me ask you this. How truly free, in your opinion, you are the chairman here, you call the shot here, you are practicing and you're on ground. I mean, you are the leader in Ocean State, the chairman of the NUJ here. How truly free in your own assessment, is the press in Nigeria? And I'm asking a very categorical and a practical question right now. And it's coming on the heels. Maybe let me reel out these. According to the Reporters Without Borders statistics, RSF, latest data released, it shows, to commemorate this World Press Freedom Day, the latest data on their website, 2024 World Press Freedom Index by the Reporters Without Borders, RSF, has placed Nigeria as one of the West Africa's most dangerous and difficult countries for journalists. With this, Nigeria ranks 112th out of 180 countries where journalists are regularly monitored, attacked, and arbitrarily arrested. However, the 2024 figure is lower than the 123rd position, one place lower than the country, the position that the country had in 2023. The ranking, assessed several indicators such as political, legislative, economic, social, and security indices. 112th out of 180. Comrade Agyadoshu, with this information, or irrespective of this information, you are in Nigeria, you practice, and then you are the chairman of Osun State. That's why I laid that background. How truly free is the press in Nigeria?
Thank you for laying credence to that. I've said it in the course of this conversation that we are given a great gift, which is a Freedom of Information Act, being signed to law in 20, I could not recall the date, it was signed to law. But to a certain extent, where is the freedom? Look at the ranking of Journalists Without Borders. Do you understand that if we should be ranked 112 out of the countries being checking their parameter? You see, we are not there yet. We are not there yet because day in, day out, journalists are being attacked in the course of performing their responsibilities. I have said it earlier in the course of this conversation, that some group of politicians always see journalists as their enemies. In the course of performing, if you even ask some, what is it he or she is doing in his ministry, parastatals and the agencies, he will see you that how could somebody be questioning my authority? And that is in a climate where the democratic system is not being respected. There is a law that even gives journalists this responsibility. The section 22 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, says the media, the press, the radio, the television shall hold those in government accountable. For God's sake, look at what we have been subjected to. It's a lot of maltreatment, deny of access to information, provoking journalists, frustrating them. Even some are manned, some are killed, some are jailed, just because of performing their responsibilities. And these are the issues that we have been clamoring for. That is why this day is very essential. It is the day we reflect on the happenings within the journalism practice. We focus on areas that we believe should be amended, and we call the government attention that certain issues around journalism practice should be addressed. That we are solving this. This year, there have been a lot of events, seminars, workshops. We're coming up with a communique to look at the areas where Nigeria will always be ranked as an independent press practice area. As it stands today, Nigeria is not free. There's no absolute independent for media parties in Nigeria.
Right. Comrade, let's bring it home where you are the chairman of Osun State. And how free, because we've talked about the world at large, the national level as well, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the practice of journalism here, and you've read out the hazard, involved in doing the job. How about, Osun State here? How truly free are the workings, of your members, the fourth estate of the realm?
Just like other states in the country, the Osun is not an exception. What makes the difference? The environment is the same. The hazard is the same. There has been an attack of members. I think 2 years ago, a journalist working with the Nation newspaper was really killed. And some are being harassed, some are embarrassed, some are attacked. because of performing their responsibilities. So there's no absolute difference between the other state, what is operating in other states with Osun State. But to a certain extent, there are certain leverage because mostly those practicing here, we are brothers and sisters. We know the politician knows us. So there's a little bit opportunity for us to work hand in hand.
Now,
and some of them are hostile, while some work with us as a friends.
All right, comrade,
so
let me ask, these are harassment that you talk about, bullying sometimes, loss of life that you're talking about that has, happened and still happening to journalists, to the press. Where do they come from? Because you've repeatedly been talking about people in government, you've been talking about politicians. Are they the only people who frown at the workings of your members? Because one would say, how about non-state actors as well? How about, just criminals somewhere who doesn't like what you are doing? That people, your members who are into investigative journalism, sometimes they are harassed and bullied and killed, maimed, hurt. Not even by politicians at times. Maybe there is a journalist who is trying to put a searchlight into activities of a criminal gang. The people that we attack, them might not be politicians. I'd just like to know, because you have repeatedly been talking about politicians, are they the only people that they are a threat to the journalist or to journalism? Right?
It's not limited to politicians. In my journalism class, you always say anybody that has something to hide that journalists want to uncover becomes an enemy of a journalist. So whoever wants to add something and journalist is ready to uncover it, you becomes an enemy. So that is why it's not limited to politicians, but there is more prominent because they have so many things to hide. Non-state actor, there can be an encounter. But why I'm focusing on the politician is that they always have something to hide. And that's what they want to add, is what we want to uncover. That is why there's always a clamoring that there's a unpalatable relationship between the politician and the media. But some non-state actors also indulge in some acts that when we want to uncover it, they turn to attack us, harass us, embarrass us, and even intend to kill us.
Yeah.
So that's been our agitation.
Yeah.
It's not limited to politicians.
Yeah. Recently there have been, popular stories of your members, the Nigerian press, National Union of Journalism members who are into investigative journalism, undercover reporters that are being arrested. In fact, there is one right now from the FIJ, Foundation for Investigative Journalism, where man that was declared missing, only to be discovered that he, was arrested, albeit like an abduction, before, the people he was working with got to know. And these are issues. One will say these are the dangers faced by journalists and, just they trying to do their job. And so one will say, how has the NUJ as a body, how have you risen to the occasion? Yes, they are your members. Some of them, most of them might be financial members. But one will say, is NUJ not just a dog that barks and really doesn't bite? What have you been doing? Many persons will even say, by the way, to say, the press doesn't tell his own story enough. That we are the people that tells other stories. We talk about challenges of others. But wherever it affects us, we don't get to stand up for ourselves and see to these things. The reporter or the journalist with FIJ is just one of many. And one will say, what has been the position of the NUJ on this matter?
Thank you very much. The journalist in question was we later got to know that he was arrested by Nigeria intelligence, the intelligence bureau or whatever. The journalist, during the course of that journalist being arrested, that his whereabouts was unknown to us, that we are finding it difficult. It looked as a kind of abduction. They just came to his house, abducted him without any notice to his family that we are taking him to this place or that place. It was the call by the NUJ. At our every week, a monthly congress, we always issue a communique to challenge the authority that this man must not be killed. This man must be released. It is after that agitation that the man was released. And as Riley said, you made a very vital point. You said the press underreported itself. I agree with you totally. We focus more on the challenges facing others than telling our own stories. When we're agitating for any professional group, whatever any professional group might have been suffering for, we are suffering more than that professional group. These are not, they are members of our union that not even be paid salary. Some of our guys, our colleagues in the print media, they are not receiving salary. Some who are paying, we hold them 12 months, 15 months, 16 months, 2, 3, 4 years salaries. And these are the challenges we are facing. As Riley said, if it is happened to any other professional body, it's the media, the journalists that will be at the front wall to be fighting the cause of such professional group. So these are the way that the NUJ need to change. We need to take our own issue more seriously so that we reposition our professional calling.
All right, comrade, but then, you know, a lot of people believe that the romance between politicians and journalists actually tend to contribute to a lot of, you know, the challenges we are seeing here, where the journalists cannot actually speak through truth to power. You know, some of them have been, they said they have sold their birthrights like Esau, and they are not able to do their duties or their jobs as they should. So what do you have to say about that? I'm talking about the romance between some journalists and politicians. In fact, we see a lot of politicians even making use of some journalists, you know, for their own jobs.
Yes, as I rightly said, I said some of our colleagues are not on the payroll of anybody. You know, in the struggle for them to meet their survival needs, some of them have even turned themselves to politicians. These days, you know, it's very difficult to even separate journalists from politicians. You always see them at the corridor of political appointees and the elected officers. But let me tell you, it is an age-long relationship. Even the former president of the United States of America, Kennedy, said if we have a choice to make a choice between the legislature and the press, he will prefer the press, because the press and the politician and the authority, considered authority, they work hand in hand. So we cannot separate the two, but we should always take note of the fact that we are given the power to check the politician, to hold them accountable, to force them to make a reasonable decision and policies that will better the lot and the generality of the society.
All right, before Femi comes right in, another thing people consider a challenge is citizen journalism and the advent of social media. They say it is one that we should call a major challenge in journalism of today, where we have blogs all around, people disseminating information that are not confirmed, and you know, citizens eating from different blogs, eating their information from different blogs. Do you consider that as, you know, a major challenge to journalism of today?
It's not even a challenge, it's a threat. It's a threat to journalism practice. That's why some group of journalists said there should be a regulation. For you to possess an Android phone does not make you a journalist. Who is a journalist?
Right.
A journalist is somebody trained in the art of giving out information, who understand all the ethical issues surrounding journalism practice, who understand the responsibility of a journalist, who understand the do's and don'ts of journalism practice. It's not because you are in possession of an Android, just because you can afford one, you become a citizen journalist. Dishing out information that could cause a separation rather than unify this country. So they are not journalists, but I like to use this kind of opportunity forum and this platform to tell people that all these junk that they are dropping on the social media, calling themselves citizen journalism, there's an element and principles of journalism that guide journalism practice. Any news item that you see on a social media, on any blog, on any platform that lacks source should not be respected, should not be seen as a news. They dish out information without any source. Tell us where we get it. Who said it? Where, when, and where? They could not tell us this. They will just sit at the comfort of their home, dishing out information in the name of practicing citizen journalism. That's why I belong to the class of those people who say there should be a regulation for the usage of social media and to afford all this. If care is not taken, there should be a regulation. They can incite the public against one another. Look at the experience of Rwanda. It's not through a media platform. All what we are doing, we should be mindful of the fact that there's rules that guiding any profession. You cannot be in the studio if you don't possess some requisite knowledge and training. How could somebody who does not have anything that's related to a profession just picking his eyebrow have been dishing out all irrelevant, unnecessary, and uncoordinated information?
Comrade, you have totally condemned the citizen, citizen journalism. Are you not trying to?
They have some advantage.
Exactly. I was just about to, ask that. We have seen situations where, information come up on social media, and it is true, and it has actually helped. It has actually helped or gone a long way to help our society. You condemning, don't you think you're throwing away the baby and the bathwater?
Not even the society alone. It's even helping the media, the journalism practice.
Exactly.
There are some who are very sensible and dishing out an accurate, precise, concise information that possess all the elements of what a true news information should be. But there are many. When we place this side by side, there are many wrongs than those we can classify as a fact and figure information. But at times we benefit, even journalists benefit from their information. It's after we see those information at times, we pursue a news story and we find out that it's true. But majorly, they are causing havoc. They are doing more damage than good to journalism practice.
All right, I'm just going to take on a statement from the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, where I'm going to read part of the statement. He said that no single journalist has been incarcerated under the Tinubu administration for practicing responsible journalism. The media is largely free in Nigeria. Do you agree with him?
I disagree. What does the term responsible mean? A journalism practicing is a profession that was abducted by intelligence, Nigerian intelligence, what they call it. He was detained for more than 62 days. It was the clamoring and agitation by the Nigerian Union of Journalists and other media organizations that actually saved him. What would have been his fate by now? It happens under this administration. It happens under this administration. So how you say the Nigerians, we are totally, the press are totally free. To a certain extent, we are not free. But be that as it may, when you do look at the analysis, I think with the advent of this government, there have been a very minimal attack on journalists. So I may give that to him, but in a developed and a mature and civilized democracy, journalists will not be maltreated, will not be attacked. They will be seen as those who are assisting the democracy to grow. In absence of press, democracy cannot grow anywhere in the world.
All right.
Democracy and media work hand in hand. Even the civil society have a role to play. We all have a role to play. Media has a role to play. So they should allow us to play our role for the betterment of our people and for the benefit of our democratic system.
Comrades, you say, let me start from here. You seem to have an issue with the term used by the minister where he said responsible journalism. What's your grasp with that?
So are you not saying those who are like the case we cited, somebody who is performing his responsibility, working on an investigation to unravel certain things that has been covered, should not be tagged as irresponsible practice. Especially the guy that was detained should not be tagged as irresponsible journalism practice. It's all about responsibility. What you see as irresponsible to you may be responsible to somebody working on that. So it's better to say journalist. The term responsible and irresponsible is a clarity.
Are you saying it's subjective?
Yes, it's subjective. Thank you for that word. It's subjective. So everybody practicing, who is a practicing journalist? Please get me right. I'm talking of trained journalists. All those who are not trained, they are practicing. Majority of them could be tagged as practicing irresponsible journalism.
All right. Very quickly, let's, you know, part of your submission earlier, you said some persons, all in the name of citizen journalism, you know, they tend to churn out information that are not helpful. By the way, some of them are helpful, by the way, but a lot of them, what they churn out is quite harmful to the practice of journalism and, you know, to the peace of our communities as well. And you talked about social media, and you are saying you belong to the class of thought that feels social media should be regulated. Is that what you're saying? That you feel social media should be regulated? Are you calling for social media regulation?
I believe so much in the regulation of social media, because at times when you are looking at the content that is being dished out on the social media, you'll be worried. Despite the advantage that is making information more accessible, that is bringing information to the tip of the hands of the people, and that's making information so fast that in the essence of a twinkle of an eye, there's information on your finger print, on your finger. But one will still continue to ask. Some of the information dishing out has the tendencies and the potential to expose this country to danger and create unnecessary unrest, especially those information that lack the principles and the elements of journalism practice.
All right, comrade. One will say, coming from the chairman of a state chapter of the NUJ, calling for social media regulation, many persons have frowned at it in the past to say, to what end? Who does the regulation? Can you put a line to where it will stop? Won't that amount to the gagging of people's expression and, you know, the workings of the fourth estate of the realm as well, if you are calling for social media regulation?
You know, there's a Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation that regulating the activities of the broadcast media.
Yeah.
Such a regulation is just a way to actually guide people to know the content to dish out, the content not to dish out. So when you are following a regulation, it's not that you are guided. That means you know what to say and what not to say.
If you are talking about the NBC code, comrade, the NBC code, yeah, the NBC code subsists, and every professional knows that already, that we have that. So why go ahead to seek out for information to be regulated on social media?
Because the abuse of this social media, there's a lot of abuse on social media. There's a lot of abuse on social media. You will agree with me. Some of the things dishing out as an information, it does not switch into become an information, because you understand that some will just sit at the comfort of their house, decided on what to dish out without any source, without any variable news item, without any focus, and just create something around somebody, especially the celebrity. People will just sit down at the comfort of their house, they write something so uncivilized about them and dish it out. And before you know it, people will assist them to be posting it around. These are some of the things we are asking for.
Let me quickly take you in on this. Evelyn talked about the fraternization or the unholy alliance, if I may use that word, of some journalists with politicians, people in power, doing their biddings, just doing the yes sir kind of work, to say, is this not hampering the practice of true journalism in the nation? And you spoke to that. But let me pick you on this. there have been some uproar in some media, in some section of the media, especially in this state, about you as the chairman of the NUJ. They recently done a Pade Mole that was done in Elisha. You represented the media. You spoke on that. And at that meeting, you praised the state governor. Many persons were saying, is that what Comrade was there for? You were thanking him. I saw the video, and many persons have seen it as well, to say, thank you, Mr. Governor, for doing this. Thank you, Mr. Governor, for doing that. In fact, we need more of this. You are making requests and making requests. And there was nothing on the workings of the government, governance in Osun State. It was just about what the government and the governor is doing for you, and it amounts to praise singing of politicians. In this case, the state governor. And many parents are saying, if a Comrade Wasiu Ajadoshu is the one doing that at an open forum that's supposed to be for interrogation of the workings of the government, and all you did was just to come and praise the state governor. So where does this leave the rest of the journalists?
Thank you for bringing this question up. It has actually generated some uproar, and I think this will be a good avenue for me to actually clear myself. So there has been an agitation that how could a Comrade journalist, who is even the #1 journalist, went on here to actually be singing governor. Yeah. You know, when somebody did something unprecedented, I think it behoves on you to actually say thank you to such a person. The governor bought 6 transmitters for the state radio. That's even the radio station that we have within the government circle is 3. He now bought 6. And I say within the union at our last congress, we said, oh, this man has done exactly what we want. There have been an agitation in the past that we want a journalist to be PS. We have written a series of letters that how could you be stopping a journalist working in the ministry, working with OSPC at the level of directors? They also should be at par with their colleagues working in the ministry. But today I can tell you boldly that we have 2 journalists as a PS in the government. So these are what we have been written about. And when somebody did actually what you could not believe it could be achieved, when you praise him, it's not for what, like Lord Patterson said, anybody who does good deserves praises. Not only for the good he did, but for the evil he left undone. So
let me quickly butt in.
That is the resolution of the Congress.
So that I can answer this together. One will say, yeah, you said he has done something unprecedented. But one will say, isn't this what is expected of anybody in charge to make sure that everything is provided for the workers under him to work, and that the quality of governance and the bar of governance has been taken so low, and the people that are supposed to be calling to question that we raise the bar are the ones now in a kind of way robbing whatever we are seeing, that it is a low head, if I may, that it's just a kind of low kind of governance that will make us to be doing such a praise singing, and that's on one side. The second one is, while you are doing that, how come that is what you did at that meeting? That was all you did at that Pade Mole. There was nothing about governance and the people.
Let me chip in. You said that actually somebody might have been performing his responsibility. How do we deem it necessary to say thank you to such a person? Right. There's a subsequent government that came aboard. We agitated for all this. We could not get it. At the first edition of Ipade Mole, I was the only one that asked questions. I asked questions. Please check. You can fact check it. I was the only one that asked about 5 policy statement questions about the government. But this time around, we said, okay, at the last Congress, that if there's any opportunity provided itself, we need to say thank you to Mr. Governor, so that journalists will not be seen as any time are being antagonized those in authority. If you do well, we say thank you. But if it is time to say otherwise, believe me, journalists in this state, we are one of the most vibrant around that you can see. So we know our onions, we know when to fire, we know when to stay off. We just use that avenue to say, because in attempt to still go about dishing out the policy statement questions, the governor, that will overshadow the thank you we say. So it's never in our practice. Check the first edition.
Sorry, before even comes in, comrade, one would say, isn't that selfish of the NUJ? You want to thank him, yeah, you know the way to his office. You want to make it public, of course, you have done that publicly. That forum was meant to be an accountability forum. And you as the ROA, the number one, what you have done, you know, for many persons watching across the country or, you know, outside the shores of our land, it seems that you as the image of the NUJ in Osun State, what every journalist does in Osun State, or what they do, is to pressing and pressing. As you as the image person, that's what I'm saying.
No. The people, everybody around the country, even around the world, know the quality of journalism in Osun State. Right. You should check our record. It's never in our practice. But when something unprecedented happened, we still have 3 transmitter left now. That's not being used. 3 that will serve as a backup for the 3 that have been installed.
All right.
So it is unprecedented. So we need to praise him and thank him for that. So, because even if we want to go by the way, he's supposed to just get 3. The extra 3 is that in any exigency, in any happens or emergency, I want your station to be working effectively. So we deem it fit at our Congress. We even wrote a communique, I don't know whether you see that. So that was the resolution of the Congress. Whatever you see me saying at that place, it was the resolution of the Congress. So I'm speaking the man of those who attended the Congress as at the last monthly Congress of NUJ in Osun State.
All right, not to stretch this particular matter, but I'd like to ask this question. Comrade Ajadusu, are you therefore saying that the thank you message is more important than the policy questions that you're supposed to ask the governor on behalf of the people?
It's not more important. But
that was exactly what you did that day. That was the only thing you did that day.
Wait. It's not very important, but it is necessary at that forum.
More important than you asking questions.
As at that forum, as at that material time, that is what is expected of me, because that was the resolution. You know what Congress means? The sovereignty belongs to the members of the Congress. Whatever decision being taken at the Congress became the superior authority on whatever opinion you have. If at the Congress we decided to boycott, to go on strike, it's not necessary the number of people at that Congress. If it is 10 people, it becomes binding on all the members of that union. Right. So that was the resolution of the Congress, and I've done what Congress asked me to do.
All right, comrade, and this actually brings me to my next question. There are insinuations or allegations in some quarters that the governor of Osun State, Governor Adebola Adeleke, has you and the Congress in his palms. How do you react to that?
Journalism working is never like that. We are journalists. We are not politicians. We are not other association. But I'm speaking as a journalist, and I'm speaking for journalists in the state. We know how we do our things. We never participate and become an error born for any person in government. We know what is expected of us in the society, and we are working within that space, within the society. So nobody can pocket journalists in the state. Right. The governor rightly said at that event that we should criticize him. That is not, whatever he did for us is not to bribe us. He said it when he was responding to my question. He actually said that we should, it's not about praising him, that we should criticize him where necessary. And that's what we have been doing. Where necessary, we criticize him.
If I may quickly say this.
Thank you.
Yeah, comrade, as part of the workings of the government, the way they have been handling since Governor Adeleke came in, you know, his workings, that of his lieutenants, his commissioners, his media guys, and everybody. You, as a journalist and the chairman of NUJ in Osun, how cooperative have the Osun State government been to the journalists?
No, they are very cooperative. They have not, since Ademola came on board, We have not recorded any incident of attack from any of
I mean the accountability to your questions. Whenever you see clearance, do you get it?
Okay, of course. Of course, they're always ready. They're always available to answer the probe and query of journalists. I've never received any report on my desk that suggested that they have denied anybody response to his probe or query. So they're always ready. I've never received any complaint. Whoever the commissioner, we are going to take that off. If that happens, you should trust the journalists in the state. We are one of the most vibrant ones you can see around.
All right.
We cannot be pockets. We cannot be pockets. Just take that. Take that.
We have limited time to go, comrade, and I'm just going to ask you about what is called the brown envelope journalism. And you know that that kind of journalism has been around for a while now, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go anytime soon or it's going to abate. You know, you see journalists collect the brown envelope and try to write to favor, you know, the person, person that gave them the brown envelope. And you see journalists go for their job, and if they are not given anything, they'll tell you your news will not fly. You know, they will say your news will not fly. And if there is any negative news or negative reports coming out from that particular job, once they get the brown envelope, you know, they just turn it around as a positive news. How do you think this is threatening journalism in Nigeria, and what do you have to say to this?
You know, it is unethical. It is unacceptable.
But it's happening. It's even now a culture. Now. No,
that's a bad culture. We have been saying that. Whenever there's an incident, you know, some journalists have been sacked based on what you said. You know, some organizations have a zero tolerance for brown envelope. Are you aware of that? If you are caught in the act, you'll be sacked. They have spelled it out. Don't collect bribe. If you are involved, you'll be sacked. And that has made the agitation within the NUG that let us do our job effectively. It's not about brown envelope. You know, that's an inducement. It's an inducement. And it will affect your writing. Whenever you collect inducement, it usually affects your writing. That makes it unethical.
Yeah. Comrade, you call it bribe, but they call it, some people call it thank you for coming.
Appreciation.
Appreciation. Just thank you for coming. You call it bribe, but that's what they call it. And, you know, earlier on, you mentioned the fact that the welfare for journalists in Nigeria is so low. And, you know, some people think or feel this is the way I can, you know, put up.
Handle my billings,
Exactly, handle my billings here. If I don't collect the brown envelope, if my employers are not paying me, how do I survive? There is need for food in the belly to write. Is there a hungry man that will write?
You are selling your conscience. You cannot do that. It is unacceptable. NUJ can never agree to that. We have an ethical code of ethics that we distribute to our members. It is included in that code of ethics.
All right.
That you should not collect brown envelope. You should not collect.
Quickly, before we run it off, just one question for me. How are you standing up for your members that are not well paid? That remuneration in some places, you have even said it is non-existent, especially working in private firms, some as freelancers, some as staff members, but that they are not being paid or they are underpaid.
Contract staff.
Yeah, contract staffing. How are you handling that?
Yes, at the national level, the practice is this. The national level of our union handle that. And to the best of my knowledge, at every neck, there's always been a directive that all such private firms, we should write them and tell them on the need to be paying the workers. And to should stop the issue, the practice of freelance and casual reporter, that they should engage them. That has been the practice, because we cannot say, we cannot take them to court.
Beyond writing, is there a way we can enforce?
But because we want our members to still be having something doing, what we are doing is
beyond raising memos and writing, is there a way you can enforce these things?
No, we have picketed some organization. I don't want to mention names. I don't want to mention names so that there won't be an issue. We have picketed some of course.
That we went even round it off for us. Yes, I'd like to ask you, as the #1 journalist in Osun State, the chairman of the NUJ, in 30 seconds, what will you say are your challenges in Osun State? I take this as your
parting shot. Challenges. I think the major challenges is as a result of some of our members, because when they are not well paid, the last question you asked, they will not be able to pay their due. That's been a major challenge that is affecting the workings of the union. Yeah. If you are not on salary, how will you pay your due? So that is why the agitation is that all the private firms should ensure that they are paying their members so that we'll be able to remove our checkup dues to run the union. Right. So it's a major challenge. And we are not resting on our hours. We are working day in, day out to ensure that our members who are not paid are paid, right, so that we'll be able to remit their checkup dues to the union for the growth and development of the union.
All right, we would like to thank you, especially the chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ Osun Chapter, Comrade Wasiu Ajadosu, for your time this morning. It has been a very insightful and exciting conversation with you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and the privilege. Thank you.
All right, and that's the conversation this morning. They say we do not blow our trumpet loud enough, or we do not tell our stories. And this is one way of, telling our stories, speaking to issues that affect us as journalists. And of course, we will continue to do that. We will continue to do that. Thank you so much for being a part of our world. We'll make a return tomorrow for another interesting time. On Morning Spring, you can watch a recap of this edition on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Have yourself a good and prosperous day.
That you should do. Femi is my name. God bless Nigeria.